Hello everybody, I'm going to do a review on this sump pump that I picked up from Harbor Freight. For reference, this is item number 69300, and they're calling this a dirty water pump with a float. And I bought this to drain my swimming pool. My swimming pool is not that big, but it's a hassle to kind of drain it because I do take it down every year. So anyway, this thing was retailing, it looks like, for $79.99. It was on sale for $54.99, a 25% off coupon. So I got this for $41.24 plus tax. And this is basically how it comes. Now I went with this one over another one that they had that was similar to it. This is a 1 horsepower pump. It's supposedly, I get conflicting information. On their website it says it does 2,600 gallons. In their manual for this model number, it says it does 2,910 gallons per hour. It's supposed to push up to a 26-foot head height, and it says in the manual that it's required to have 3 inches of water before it runs out and starts sucking air. But on their website it says 1 3/8 inch. It drains down to that. And I've measured this, and I'll try to measure it again. And trying to eyeball that, it sure looks to be like about 1.5 inches to me is what you would get. That's one reason why I went with this one, because the other one in the store was definitely 3 inches. So it has a 10-foot cord on it. It has a float switch, and it came with this particular fitting here. There are 2 O-rings on this elbow. Put some petroleum jelly on there. This stuff's not in the manual. I'm just telling you what I know to do. Put some petroleum jelly on there, and then screw this into the pump housing itself until you get that O-ring below the surface, and it'll seal it there. Same thing with this one. O-ring, lubricate it, tighten it all up till it pops down in there. The fitting for the hose is a stepped nipple. It has 2 sections of barb on it, and then one that is threaded right here. This will do like a 1-inch ID pipe, or this is 1-inch OD, and it's about 1.5 inches down here. And then this section that's threaded, you could put a garden hose on it. So depending on how you were going to hook up a hose, you just cut it, leave it the way it is here. If you're just going to press a 1-inch pipe on, cut it off, use the threaded, cut it off, and use the 1.5 inch hose on the outside. Now it's choked down quite a bit on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. So if you use it out here, you're probably definitely not going to get the gallons per hour out of it. I probably will just plan on it for myself, just cutting this off and using a garden hose. If it takes another 45 minutes or whatever, I don't care. But to get the full brute force out of this, you would probably want to try to couple onto this somehow with a piece of pipe, and then connect your hose to it. So all in all, this is a stainless steel construction. Even the base is stainless steel. A lot of the ones I looked at in the store, they were plastic. I'm looking at the impeller down in here. It does appear to be plastic. No big deal. But for the most part, this is pretty much got very little plastic on it, so maybe a little bit overkill for what I'm doing. I don't know. I've read reviews on these with other people complaining, and it's like anything. They're about half down the middle, half good, half bad. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a go for my application. Now I'm not really going to be able to show this working on the pool because it's cold, dark, and rainy. So I'm going to try to set up a using my mop sink over there. I'll fill it up with water, and I'll run a hose out the door or circulate the hose back into it, and we'll plug this thing up and see how it works. The float switch, while I'm here, you want it to be, I believe, a minimum of 3 inches off, or whenever, you always want to make sure it never shuts off after you run out of water. So you can adjust the height of this switch up here with this bracket, loosen it up, set the switch height where you want it, and there you go. So they have many of these. This is just the one. I've got a little mock-up going here in my mop sink. I need to make a correction though. I was talking about those threads on that fitting, you know, being for a garden hose. They're not. They're too large. So I found a piece of pipe here. You know, I'll make something up for my process. I can also note that the flip switch is a little bit fickle. So depending on your application, you may have to mess around with that. You can see it's laying here now. It's supposed to be on right now because it is plugged in. And you can't really tell, but I've got about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 inches of water in this. And I've almost got it all the way out, you know, taken all as much as I can on the switch. Well, this cable seems to be kind of stiff, so it's not real flexible to where this thing will just kind of float up and go down. That may change over time, I'm not sure, but that's just something you need to take into consideration. As well, if you do get one of these, there's a check valve right here in the top. Hopefully you can see it. Occasionally it will spurt a little water out of here. That's normal, don't worry about that, but I'm going to force it on right now. It moves the water pretty good, and I've got the pipe coming down right here. Hopefully you can see it, so let me go ahead and turn it on. And the pump itself is actually quite quiet. Now obviously I'm not taking any water out of here, so the flow switch would go down, but you can see if I just bring it down, you can see it shut off. It appears it would be shut off at about the right level, but if I let it go with this much water in here, it should technically turn itself back on. And it did not. So I don't know how much water would have to rise before it would cycle itself again. Probably not a big deal, you know, if it gets up to here, it'll turn itself back on and then float down. So actually that's probably working about the way it would be. You know, if you had one of these in the ground, or, you know, if you were putting it under your house or something like that, you know, you would have it down in a reservoir, so that water would rise up faster than the surrounding area. So it's probably just fine, but like I said, I was just playing around with it. All in all, it does seem to look like it's going to serve my purpose well. You know, for the money, I really can't complain. I don't know how long they're going to last. Some people say they don't last long. They use them once, they put it up for a year, bring it out, and the motor won't start. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was this one. May have been a different model that they had. So I think it's going to be a good purchase for my reasoning for getting it. Thanks for watching, and good luck.